Hello there. If you're watching this video the day it comes out, Trials of Osiris, Destiny's long-awaited, community-loved endgame PvP activity is finally returning tomorrow. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to win and how to go flawless in Trials. If you're new to the community or you don't know what going flawless means, don't worry, you will. The goal in a nutshell is to win multiple games of Trials in a row, probably 9 unless we get boons back, and doing so will give you additional rewards, as well as maybe a personal sense of accomplishment and access to a new social area for flawless players only, the Lighthouse. It's kind of a big deal. As some of you out there know, I've streamed on Twitch for many years now and spent many weekends helping members of my own community get to the Lighthouse in Trials. And after doing so many Trials cards with so many players trying to go flawless, I eventually wound up creating rules. They're more like guidelines than rules, but it's more fun to say rules. When someone won the raffle in my Twitch chat and we brought them into the fire team to play a game of Trials, we made sure that each player we brought in was familiar with these rules. With Trials returning, I looked over my old rules and to my great delight realized that literally all of them still held up over time. These rules are what we're going over today. While there are for sure many ways to win, these are mine. They are not specific to certain gear or loadouts, although if people want to, we can cover that in a future video. Anyway, without further ado, my 7 rules to winning and going flawless in Trials of Osiris. Rule number 1, don't get picked. Rule number 2, don't get picked. Now I'm sure some of you are laughing right now because you probably clicked on this video for some tremendously deep insight, and the first 2 rules right out the gate are incredibly obvious. It's kind of like advising a boxer looking to get better to not get punched. Give me a minute to explain though, because I can't tell you how many Trials carries we've had improve for the better after drilling rule number 1 and 2 into their heads right away. Trials is elimination with only 3 players on each side. Here's how 95% of all Trials matches go. At the beginning, there's a standoff. Could be long, could be short. Eventually one Guardian will get picked off. The second someone does get picked off, the standoff period is officially over and that team that did the picking is going to blitzkrieg in at light speed and manslaughter your team. Don't believe me, new players? Cause the vets are all nodding right now. The beginning of each match is the calm before the storm. Once someone on your team gets picked off, either due to getting sniped or team shotted from an unseen angle, the enemy team is going to be all over you like white on rice. Mainly because they don't want you to get your dead teammate revived, but also because a 3v2 situation is very easy to win. More so than a 3v3 anyway. Every match boils down to numbers. If your team has the number advantage, the odds are in your favor. So I reiterate, don't get picked. If you suspect the enemy team is hardscoping a popular sniper lane, get a corner and emote to peek around the corner without exposing yourself. Oh, what's that? You think that's cheesy? This is Trials, bitch. We play to win around here. If an enemy player is shooting you and you duck behind a corner for cover, wait before poking back out again, or better yet, maybe find a new angle altogether. I literally cannot stress how important it is to not be the first player dead in Trials. You want to do everything in your power to work with your teammates to ensure the first kill of the game is on the enemy team. Use callouts, use cover, use team shots, and get that first pick. When that first Guardian dies, any good Trials team will make sure that round is over in 20 seconds or less, almost guaranteed. Don't get picked. Rule number 3, don't be alone. Kind of a good rule for life too, if you think about it, but I digress. Any of you out there watch nature documentaries, Planet Earth and all of that? Ever see a video of wolves, lions, or any other predator hunting their food in the wild? What do? They go for weak prey, slow, lonesome, undefended stragglers. You and your teammate's strategy should be no different. No joke, if I had $1 for every lone teammate I've seen in a game of Trials or comp get quickly wagon circled because they were all alone off in La La Land, I'd be retired by now. Prevent this from happening to you and your teammates by keeping a super tight eye on your radar and HUD. Obviously, you don't want to be holding hands with your teammates, but there should be very few points in the opening moments of the game where someone is miles away from their 2 teammates. Of course, there can be exceptions to this rule. Crazy top tier PvP gods who play this game from morning till night can break off solo to try and look for a pick, or for a flank. The ability to do this well comes with experience. That being said, even legends can have a hard time fighting off 3 attacking guardians all at the same time. Here's a good rule of thumb. If you're trying to find a good angle or an enemy to shoot, and all of a sudden you notice you are literally half the map away from the rest of your team, reposition yourself and get closer to your teammates. Do it quickly and do not expose yourself. If all of a sudden you get wolf-packed by the entire enemy team and you were all off on your own, you have only yourself to blame. Rule number 4, push those who are alone. Rule number 4 is the peanut butter to rule number 3's jelly. Translation: if you and your teammates notice that on your radar one enemy is clearly wandering off on their own, you collapse, and you collapse hard. On that lone enemy, that is. Remember, it's harder to fight a mob of guardians all at once rather than 3 guardians one at a time, so when you push that lone guardian, you make sure to do it all together all at once. It is shockingly more easy to win a round of Trials when one lone weak guardian has already been polished off and you're now left with a 3v2. You can still lose, of course, but the odds are definitely in your favor. Even if you wanted to mindlessly ape in hard now with your new number advantage, that wouldn't be a terrible idea. You could get the job done, and way more likely than you could before. You're always gonna have to be aware of lone guardians armed with killer close range weapons though, like shotguns, fusions, one-hit kill abilities like handheld supernova, or even their supers. 9 times out of 10 though, pushing a lone guardian with your entire team is absolutely the right play to make. Even if they fight back and take out 1 or god forbid 2 of you, depending on how far away that lone teammate was, you could easily revive your teammates and be right back up to full strength in no time. Rule number 5, unless you are about to lose the game, do not pop your super in a 1v3 situation. As you can probably guess, this rule was created after several catastrophic Trials losses that could have been easily prevented had we used our supers better. Here's the scenario. Your team is ahead several rounds, but you happen to be losing the current round. Your one teammate is left all alone in a 1v3. He pops his super because he craves that hero moment, and within 2 seconds, he's laying dead on the floor because he got his head ripped off via enemy gunfire. Look, I get it. You want to be the hero. You have to think about the long term in Trials, not the short term, or in addition to the short term, I should say. Is it possible to win a 1v3 with your super? For sure. Is it likely, though? That depends. Some teams in Trials play very campy. Since the general rule of thumb is to stick together, taking down 3 enemies while getting team shot yourself with no backup support on your end isn't a walk in the park, even if you have your super. Again, if you're already ahead in the round count, especially by 2 or even 3 rounds, you know what's usually a better idea? Save your super. Try your best to win the round alone. If you don't, no big deal. Now though, it's a fresh new round and you can pop your super right away and have much, much better odds at winning the round with your super while also having the support of your now alive teammates. Of course, if you're on the final round, you have to use your super, even if you're in a 1v3. But we've had so many cases of heartbreak when trying to help friends go flawless who popped their super in horrible situations where they didn't need to. And then we went on to lose not only the round, but the game overall. Think about the long term, and unless you're literally about to lose the entire game, don't pop your super in a 1v3. Rule number 6, push together as a team, retreat together as a team. This one seems self-explanatory, and yet here we are. If you're in a situation where you need to push the enemy team, your odds of success are higher if you attack together. Here's the scenario for you. Your team is alive and well, and the enemy team has 1 guardian alive. Your goal right now should be to push the hell out of him so he doesn't get the chance to revive his dead teammates and bring things back to a 3v3. So yeah, you push him, but ruh-roh, you pushed him alone with your goofball-ass teammates staying at the back of the map, hardscoping a doorway, hoping the enemy would just be kind enough to pop out and give you a free headshot for no reason. You push him alone, he kills you, and whoops, he just revived his entire team. Now it's a 2v3 situation, and your team goes on to lose the round. GG, no re. If you're going to push, Do it together as a team. You gain very little by dividing your focus and being separated in 3v3 elimination. And on that note, when you retreat together as a team. When I'm trying to help people get to Legend in comp on Twitch, this one comes up a lot. There are simply some situations where you need to duck out of the engagement, GTFO, and reposition yourself as a team. In those situations, you better all be retreating together, because the absolute last thing you want is to look back and see one teammate who didn't hear the call out to fall back. He's standing there alone, and oh no, he just got violated by the entire enemy team. Unfortunate. So much of elimination revolves around having your entire team be full strength at all times and taking advantage of the enemy team when they're weak. Retreat together and keep your entire team alive. If you see your teammates bailing, repositioning, and moving with them is for your benefit too. You don't want to stupidly hold your ground in a situation where you're about to get aped 1v3. Push together as a team, retreat together as a team. And finally, we get to rule number 7. I bet you're thinking this might be something wholesome and uplifting. Be optimistic, support each other, and believe in the heart of the cards. Nah, never stand still when reviving an ally, and push revived allies if they're being hardscoped. This rule right here requires a demonstration for all you rookies out there who might be unfamiliar with Trials. Let's start with the first part of rule 7. Never stand still when reviving an ally. How do I put this delicately? Destiny snipers wish to harm you. They laugh and giggle in their sleep, dreaming about opportunities to embarrass you with pinpoint precision as you desperately try to revive your own team. Take a look at these two clips. Which Guardian do you think is going to be easier to murder? The one strafing and bobbing and weaving and also potentially shooting back at the sniper, or the one standing completely still like a goon? No contest, number 2 is gonna get capped. I'm not saying it's impossible to put down the strafing Guardian, but why make life easier for your enemy? Bob and weave people. Throw in a duck every now and then. Ideally, you never have to revive a teammate who's clearly in the enemy's line of sight, but I guarantee you there will be times where this is something you'll have to deal with. Or who knows, maybe you think the revive on your teammate is safe, so you stand still and then bam, you get dunked on. Always assume someone is watching you. Now for the second half of rule 7, push revived allies if they're being hardscoped. Another demonstration for you. Let's say you're in a situation where you can revive a dead teammate. You're in cover, your teammate might be in a situation though where if a sniper was watching, your revived friend would probably get their head blown off. So what do? Here's what you don't do. Pick them up like normal and keep your fingers crossed that no one's watching. Whoops, looks like someone was watching, and now your teammate's back in the dirt with a longer revive timer. Wah wah. Here's what you should get into the habit of doing. When your teammate's body pops up from the revive, you run right at them and slide right away. The goal here being to push your friend out of harm's way if they were being hardscoped. Not a completely 100% guaranteed safe way to pick up a friend, by the way, but again, I've literally won rounds and games because of this technique back in D1, many players have. Go ahead and add it to your repertoire of knowledge and don't make life easier for the dirty hardscopers out there just itching to ruin your day. And that's it. Of course, there's traditional suggestions on how to improve your odds at winning, like be a very high power level because Trials is a light level enabled activity, and communicate with your teammates. That's always important to winning. The team that talks more has a better shot at winning and all that stuff. But I figured aside from that repetitive advice, these 7 rules are great because they have helped me explain the nature of Trials very frequently to people trying to go flawless back in the day. And they've served me well. I've had people tell me they thought they'd never go flawless. Join up with me, follow the rules, and booyah, Lighthouse ahoy. So one final review. Don't get picked. Don't get picked. Don't be alone. Push those who are alone. Unless you're about to lose the game, don't use your super in a 1v3. Push together as a team, retreat together as a team. Never stand still when reviving an ally. Push allies being hardscoped. 7 easy rules to help improve your odds at going flawless in Trials. If you have any additional tips to share with Trials newcomers on winning and going flawless, please do so down below in the comment section. As always, if you found this video helpful, gently caress that like button oh so tenderly. And if you haven't already, respawn, snipe that sub button because it was asking for it. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you at the Lighthouse.